What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Dudes Who Bet Sports.
So you want to bet sports, but you need some advice on how to cash in big at a heck of a price. Well, if you want enough money to line your shorts, then you're in the right place. This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dudes Who Bet Sports show, and we're covering the Preakness, of course, today. More Preakness coverage here at RacingDudes.com. We haven't really got Papa Dude's thoughts on it, so we had to get him on, get his thoughts today on the Preakness. We're going to cover that race. We're going to cover a lot of the undercard races. Well, maybe not a lot, but a few of the undercard races as well. Papa Dude, before we begin, did you stay up for the Calgary-Edmonton hockey game last night?
No, here was my theory. I bet it was the same as yours, probably. You didn't make it either, did you?
No, I was definitely awake last night, yes.
Oh, you stayed up?
Yes.
Were you doing something else?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't stay up for – you saw the score and really weren't – you didn't stay up for that, right?
I had it on in the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I was up till God knows when the night before.
Right, yeah.
So I thought, okay, this will be a nice time to go to bed early tonight when the score was 6-1.
Right.
And total domination by the Flames. So this morning I got up ready to write the article, and I thought, well, I better check and see what the final score was. And when I saw what happened, I was absolutely shocked.
It was wild. It was a wild game. It was 6-1, and then it was 6-5 before you could blink an eye.
Well, didn't they end up tying it?
Yeah, they did, and then ended up giving up 3 more goals. And yeah, everybody's on Mike Smith's case today. He got pulled after 3, so the other 6 were not on Mike Smith.
No, and that's what everybody they saw him get pulled.
Yeah,
and the other guy gave up actually 5 because one of them was empty net, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it was a total breakdown of the entire back line of the Oilers and the goalie.
Yeah, it was wild. And Jacob Markstrom really didn't play that well either.
No, obviously not.
He gets the win in a 9-6 game. So.
Yeah. and the ironic thing about this, there's so many things, is Calgary couldn't score a goal in the first round. They scored 15 goals in 7 games, and they come out and score 9 in game 1 against Edmonton. And the other thing is, if you're Edmonton, you go into Calgary, a team that hadn't been scoring very well, you score 6 and you don't win.
It's wild. And, it's absolutely wild. I have no other way to describe it. It was just it was a scene, let me tell you. It was Jared's Tinder dates last longer than Mike Smith, according to Magic. So yeah, it was a wild game.
Pretty early.
Yes, for sure. And then the first game went into overtime. I felt like Carolina just looked disinterested for 2 periods and then finally started to play a little bit.
Yep. That's about the way to explain it. And New York squandered a perfect opportunity to get a win in Carolina last night too. So,
yeah.
And we'll talk about another team that did the same thing here in a little bit. So, it seems to be the theme right now.
It definitely does. But before we get into more hockey, I will pull up the Preakness field for us now. It got set on Monday. Like I said, you and I have not been on to talk about it together. Of course, you've handicapped it. You can find Papa Dude's picks in the wagering guide, which should be out sometime today. The full guide will be available, and we'll kick it off with the Preakness. I know who you picked. The people don't know who you picked just yet. All right, so who do you have on top and why?
Well, it's pretty simple. The best horse in the field is Epicenter. There's no question. And if he runs his race, it's not going to be close, I don't think. I just don't see him losing if he runs his race. So you have to go with him. The problem's going to be for bettors, I think he'll get down to 3-5 probably. So you got to say to yourself, is that worth betting on? And my answer is no at 3-5. Now, 4-5 and above, maybe, if you want to throw a lot of money, to bet him. But realistically, if he runs his race, and by the way, all the video I've seen of him in training, God, if he doesn't look great,
Mhm.
I don't know that I've ever seen a horse look so good as he does in training. And you know that Asmussen's got him ready. If he fires, I just don't think anything else can beat him. So I'm going with him. I have Secret Oath second, and I like what the coach said this morning or yesterday. Whenever I saw it this morning, I don't know when that actually came out, about how he thought they should have won the Arkansas Derby, and I kind of have to agree with him. She just didn't fire for some reason in that one, and it didn't get a good trip, and he didn't think she got a very good ride. And I'm telling you, she blew a pretty good field away in the Kentucky Oaks. And I'm not too sure anybody but maybe 2 or 3 in this race right here could have beat a couple of the best horses in the Kentucky Oaks. I'm serious when I say that. So I think if she gets the right trip, gets the kick, say Epicenter gets in a duel with early voting, she might have enough in her to get it done. So I've got her second. And then, now, well, go ahead. I'm sure are you sticking with Epicenter or did you try to beat him?
No, I stuck with Epicenter.
Okay.
I think he just makes too much sense. I actually think he's sitting on the biggest race yet for him.
Well, he looks it. He looks it.
A lot of people are talking about the 2 weeks thing, and you look at Asmussen horses in the Preakness that come into the Derby, they usually run better in the Preakness than they did in the Derby. So I certainly think he's sitting on a huge, huge race. And
he looks it.
listen,
Well,
no matter what kind of running style you ask him to do, he can win from there. I think he's sitting on a big one. You talk about Secret Oath, and you have to think back. What would you think of her if she would have won the Arkansas Derby?
oh, I know.
She probably would have been the heavy favorite in the Kentucky Oaks.
I
You never
think-
know. She may have been in the Kentucky Derby if she would have won the Arkansas Derby.
the way he talks, if you want to believe him and the owner, he says that was never an option.
Yeah.
I tend to believe him because I don't think he would say that if he didn't mean it. I just don't. And his reasoning behind all of it makes too much sense.
Yeah.
To not put her in there. He ran in the Derby because of the purse. He ran the Arkansas Derby for the money.
Well, the money, and it's a grade 1, and that's very
Yes.
important to those
Yes.
owners to get a grade 1 win.
Absolutely.
The biggest thing, guys, and he said this from the very start, he'll take a shot against the boys when A, he thinks he has the horse that can do it, and B, the field isn't just all that great.
And that's exactly what we got.
The Arkansas Derby field was not that great. I
Right.
think you can look at it now and say the 2 best horses out of that race didn't fire that day. We the People just didn't show up. Now,
Nope.
he might end up being a good horse. He
Mhm.
certainly looked good in the Peter Pan, but he didn't show up that day at all.
Mm-mm.
And she didn't show up. Well, and like I said, you could blame the ride, you could blame the trip. I saw her with my own 2 eyes that day, and she didn't look
Me too.
anything physically like she did in Kentucky. So
No.
she may have just not been 100%
Well,
for that
and-
race.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. When she made the turn, and if you've seen all of her winning races, when she makes that turn and she's as close to the front as she was, it's over. She has blown these other horses away. And I thought she was going to win when she made the turn, didn't you?
Yeah, she passed 6 horses in a blink of an eye.
In a blink of an eye,
Well-
maybe I guess you could argue she came too quick. I don't know.
She hit a wall that day, and
She
it's a
did.
wall she hasn't hit in any of her prior
Right.
races this year or the one after.
Yeah.
The big thing is she's the only grade 1 winner in the field, although the grade 1 did come against fillies. But like you said, the Kentucky Oaks, before the race, everybody was talking that race up. Like, this is a really
Oh,
good group. And
Exactly.
that was not a competitive race. So,
No.
I mean,
No, she won that easy.
I kind of like you. I've kind of fallen into this. I think it's going to be one of those 2.
I do too. We were talking. Well, I'll get to it in a little bit, but the early voting thing. What do you think? Do you think he's good enough?
Well, and let's throw with that question. We'll throw this question up. And Rodney Evans says, "Where's the speed coming from? Will
Right.
there be a pace meltdown?" Well, your speed horse is early voting.
Right.
There's almost no doubt he's going to be on the lead.
He's got to.
And then, Rodney, to answer your question, there won't be a meltdown unless Armagnac or Fenwick can get out there with him. Or maybe a simplification breaks really well and gets out towards the front. Those three horses will be the key. Early voting is going.
Yes.
That's a given. Armagnac, every time he enters, they say he's going to be a part of the pace, and he just really hasn't been in stakes races. So he's going to have to do something that he's supposed to have done the last 2 or 3 times he ran in stakes, but didn't do. So he'll have to do that. And then Fenwick, I mean, he did take a maiden special weight field gate to wire. He wasn't on the lead in a slow pace of the bluegrass last time out. I mean, he's capable of getting up there, but I would call the 3 and the 7, the other two main pace plays, highly questionable that they can run with early voting early.
Oh, that's what I think. Yeah.
Therefore, I don't see a pace meltdown in this situation.
Well, and I don't think Epicenter is going to let that horse get too far out.
Yeah.
I think he's going to lay off a little bit.
So that's just to jump in.
Get him.
Just to jump in, and I'll steal what you just said, and I was talking over you, but that's the advantage Epicenter has. If say early voting goes to, and I don't want this to happen, he's safe, let's say, but he goes to his knees and he just doesn't get a good break and he gets behind. Well, if nobody's on the lead, Epicenter can go out there and get it, right?
Yeah.
He's also versatile enough to where if early voting goes out there and it's a slow pace,
right,
he can sit closer than what he probably projected to sit before the race started. So that's the key right there.
Right.
Epicenter is versatile, and that's his big help, and that's what is going to make him tough to beat.
I agree. And I think Secret Oath is going to set off a little bit too, and make that big push like she does.
Yeah. The difference, I think, is I don't think Secret Oath is capable of sitting as close as Epicenter. But yeah, I think what you saw in the Kentucky Oaks and why you saw that improvement from Secret Oath, in her other races, Contreras had her in last. She doesn't need to be in last.
No.
And in Louis as you fast forward to the Kentucky Derby, she's the middle of the pack. That's where she needs to be. I mean, she's not. D. Wayne says she could set the pace if they asked her. I'm not sure about that, but she needs to be about mid-pack. And she still could come with that run. But when you're sitting closer, you obviously, I don't have to explain that. You're going to have a faster run to get to that leader when you're sitting closer to him.
Well, this makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think we're looking at early voting and Secret Oath as the main competition.
Yep.
Although the number 1 horse, we've got to talk about him a little bit, I think.
Yeah, let's move on to simplification. Commenter here says speed, early voting, Armagnac, or simplification. Simplification does great when on the rail and hugs the rail throughout. We've talked about this horse a lot on all our shows. It's like you just never really know. Is he going to break poorly and be last? Is he going to be on the lead? He has the ability to sit second or third, sit kind of where Epicenter is sitting. You said before we got on the air, I'm really starting to like simplification. So talk about simplification.
Well, I don't know whether you call 6-1 a long shot.
I think he's going to be the 4th choice in the race. A 4th choice in a field of 9 starts to become a long shot.
Yeah, and I think 6-1. I don't think he's going to get any lower than that, his odds. I really don't, because I think some of the Secret Oath, early voting, and Epicenter are going to take the money. And I think he's going to hang right in there 6-1, may drop 5-1, maybe. I don't know. The thing I don't like about him is he doesn't win. He might just be one of those 2nd and 3rd type horses. We've all seen him. They run well, but they don't ever get the lead. But my gosh, when you look at his track record, it's as good as anybody else's but Epicenter as far as the males go. His last 4 races. 2nd in the Holy Bull, 1st in the Fountain of Youth, 3rd in the Florida Derby, 4th in the Kentucky Derby. Who besides Epicenter can say that?
Yeah.
In that field.
Very consistent.
Yes. And he runs in anything. He's not going to be in awe of anything. So to me, if you consider 6-1 as a long shot, and I'm thinking he might even end up 8-1, maybe. That would be my pick for the big upset. And I don't know that it's that big an upset the more I look at it.
Yeah, I think on paper it's not, but I think by the time they go off, and again, it's all we're guessing what those final odds will be. But I'm with you. I think you're going to get every bit of 6-1. So, do I like him to win? No, but am I going to tell anybody that asks me, "Hey, what do you think of simplification?" I think I'm going to bet him to win. I'm probably going to say, "Go ahead and try it." Like,
Sure.
you're going to get the price. He's really consistent. If you go back and watch his Kentucky Derby, it was probably the best race of his career. He didn't have anything go really his way from a trip perspective and was still able to go out there and get fourth. How he comes back, how he bounces back out of there, we'll see. He was the first one out of the Preakness horses to arrive at Pimlico for whatever that's worth. I think he'll be in the mix. I think if you bet him, you're not going to think you don't have any chance. Like, exactly. I think he's going to show you that he's going to give you a chance to win.
Yes. And here's the deal. Okay, let's say you want to bet, I'm just going to throw out $40. Okay. Mm-hmm. Are you better off and let's say it's 40 that you can lose. You don't, it's not going to bother you one way or the other. And Epicenter's 3-5. Wouldn't you be better off of throwing $40 that you don't care whether you lose or not on a 6-1 than a 3-5 in this race?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, and in the long term, the answer is 100% yes.
Yeah.
And so here's my problem with Epicenter. Like, we talked about Jackie's Warrior, right, 2 weeks ago, and how we'll take even money. That's a gift. We'll take 4 to 5. Reason being is when Jackie's Warrior fires, he doesn't lose.
No, it's over.
Yeah. Epicenter has fired twice and lost to horses that arguably are not as good as a few that are in this race.
Yeah.
That's why he's tough to swallow as just a straight win bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, if you're thinking, okay, let's take your $40 as an example. Well, if he's 3-5, you're going to win $28 on a win bet.
Something like that.
Yeah, if he's 3-5, that's what you're winning on a $40 bet. You're winning 28.
Okay.
I mean, if simplification wins, you're getting like $200 back, $240 back if he's the price.
Yeah.
So would you rather bet 40 to make 240 or 40 to make 28? Right. That's right where it's at.
Yeah, and we're talking about if you have $40 that you can afford to lose. Now, if you got $40 that you can't afford to lose, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. Or if Epicenter is your top choice and you do not want to play another horse, which is where I set, you gotta get creative with an exacta or a trifecta and try to create value that way.
And you can do that.
As I wrote in the guide, if he's 6-5, go ahead and bet him to win.
Yes. But I don't see any way he's going to be 6-5. Do you?
I project him to be 3 or 4 to 5.
Yeah.
And that's when it's just like, that just gets a little bit dicey.
Well, the filly's going to take some money.
Yeah.
Just because she's a filly and because it's Lucas.
Yeah.
And I think the networks will blow that up as a big deal. So she's going to come down from 9-2.
Yeah.
I would think she might be 7-2, 3-1 before it's over.
On the show this morning, or I guess early afternoon, Samich said in the overseas market, Epicenter, you could get right around even money right now.
Is that right?
Yeah. And
Epicenter. Okay.
And then the filly and early voting are both around that 9-2 mark.
Okay. So she has not come down overseas.
Yeah. And again, overseas and here, two very different things. So,
overseas, do they know? They probably don't know the story of Lucas and Secret Oath, you think? They probably don't know as much about it.
Yeah. They're just like these aren't $2 bettors that are betting the Silver Sea right now.
Yeah.
So that's a big factor of it as well.
Secret Oath's going to take some of the casual bettors' money.
Probably all of it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's see. Wrong one. Well, let's keep going here. Any love for Creative Minister, the 2-horse for Kenny McPeak? And then Rodney also brings up Creative Minister. He's always in the back to middle back. He's a great enough closer to catch Epicenter or Secret Oath. So Creative Minister coming off 2 straight wins. is undefeated around 2 turns, broke the maiden at Keeneland, and then turned around and won an allowance on Kentucky Derby Day just 2 weeks ago. Like I said, both races around 2 turns. His only loss, he just lost by a neck, and it was in the 7 furlong race. So, what about Creative Minister? Did you give him any thought whatsoever?
Well, hasn't he only run like 3 times?
Yeah, he has 3 starts.
How do we know what he does? I'm sorry. You got to run more than 3 times before I get any kind of a feel. He's always in the back or in the middle of the back. He's always in the back or the middle of the back because he's only run 3 times. I mean, I don't. Okay, you can't say never after the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah,
No.
no.
In this race, yes, I would say he has a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But you can say that about almost every single one of them in this race. When you get right down to it, if something happens to Epicenter and he doesn't fire, they do have a chance. I just don't think he's experienced enough, and I don't ever bet a horse that hasn't done anything in a stakes race. In a race like this, that's just a rule I have, and that's why I didn't even look at Rich Strike. One of the 100 reasons why I didn't look at Rich Strike. I mean, Creative Minister's got better back class than Rich Strike did. So sure, you got to give him a little bit of a look. I mean, I don't think I'll play him at all, but who knows? After the Kentucky Derby, we can't really knock anybody out of here, can we?
Yeah, that's his deal. Is you got to try to create value with one of these horses that are 10, 12, 20 to 1. And he does seem to make the most sense to me.
He's there for sure.
It's just a matter of if he's fast enough. And, on paper, he's not, but he did take a nice jump from his second race to his third race. The bad part is it's a really tough race, to make your first start against Stakes Company, right?
Yeah.
With
Epicenter in there.
Yeah.
And Secret Oath.
But the good news for Creative Minister is this is not a great Preakness field.
No.
There are not heavy hitters in this
group
after the top 1 or 2.
Yeah. That's true.
So, I don't hate him. I think playing him in like third makes a lot of sense.
Gives you value.
Yeah. Jared and I were looking through past Preaknesses where there were heavy favorites. And the heavy favorite usually wins. And then it's usually like a kind of a longer price that comes in second.
Sure.
So
you see that a lot.
Yeah. Creative Minister does kind of play into that role a little bit.
Well, let me ask you this. If Epicenter goes down to 3 to 5, let's say, are you going to try to beat him in a trifecta maybe?
I don't play that way because I bet who I think is going to win.
Well, that's the way I do too, because you got to bet who you think is going to win because you just do, or you're not going to win the trifecta is what I'm saying. But some people don't do that.
So what I would do and what I will do is put Epicenter on top of a try and probably play Secret Oath or Early Voting in second. And then in third, I would start to spice it up with Creative Minister, Skippy Longstocking, stuff like that. Yeah.
What do you think of Happy Jack?
Happy Jack, I don't like. What about you?
Well, he's running some bigger races. I don't like him either. I just wondered if you gave him any thought at all.
I haven't given him any thought ever. I felt like the Kentucky Derby was a race where he could have probably outran his odds when it comes to his running style and the pace. It's like, he should have probably ran a little bit better than that.
Right.
So I'm not really high on him. I know Dennis is not high on him, but Dennis thinks he can hit the board.
Thinks he got a chance.
I don't.
Well, I know about 1 million of us thought he won the Kentucky Derby there for a minute.
That's true. This was the horse everybody thought won the Kentucky Derby. I think we would feel differently if that actually was him.
Yeah. No, I tell you.
This is a good question and a good discussion point. Rodney asked, why doesn't this race have the best 3-year-olds? Why was it a big drop off from the Kentucky Derby to Preakness, 20 horse field to only 9?
I know the answer.
I know the answer as well. Would you like to answer, or do you want me to?
Well, I'm sure you've answered it 100 times this week, haven't you?
So, Rodney, if I remember right, I think you said a couple weeks ago you're newer to racing. I think you said that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so let me try to explain. And maybe some people watching know the answer, but some don't. So they run this race 2 weeks after the Kentucky Derby. Obviously, you know that. That is very, very abnormal nowadays. Horses do not run back on 2 weeks rest, hardly ever. In the past, when they started this in the 1900s, that wasn't any big deal. Running back in 2 weeks, no big deal. Really, up until about 10 years ago, it really wasn't that big of a deal. You would run back in 2 weeks, and you look at other Preaknesses. The top 3-4 horses out of the Kentucky Derby would always be here.
Oh,
maybe not all of them. But you don't even there wasn't even will they go to the Preakness after the Derby? They were just on their way. Things have really changed. Horses do not run back in 2 weeks.
Not the good ones, Rodney. Not the good ones.
Correct.
Like we're talking about.
Trainers like 4 to 6 weeks in between races now. And it's been a big debate on the channel, and I'm stand alone on this, that the Triple Crown, if we want the three best races with the three best with the best horses in each of the races, you must space out the Triple Crown much differently than it is right now. So the short answer here that I made long is this race sucks, and it's been sucking for the last 3 or 4 years because only the old school trainers are going to send their horses to this race if they ran in the Kentucky Derby.
Absolutely. And you look at the ones that are in here from the Kentucky Derby. I don't know much about Sano or whatever his name, however you pronounce that.
He's an old school guy.
Okay. Yep. So you got him, you got Lucas, you got O'Neill, and you got Asmussen. Mm-hmm. They're all guys that have been around a while.
Yep.
And that's a very good answer. And while we're on this, because this is something we're going to discuss, it's not only affecting the Preakness, it's affecting the undercard, and the Black-Eyed Susan is awful.
Yeah.
It is pathetic.
Yep.
I don't know. I didn't look at it very closely because we didn't put it in the guide.
Mm-hmm.
Did any filly from the Kentucky Oaks run in the Black-Eyed Susan?
None.
Not a damn one.
No.
So this is just verifying your stance on this. This undercard is the most pitiful thing I mean, first of all, the purses are not very good. That is another reason. I'm talking about the undercard.
Yeah.
They're not going to risk their good horse for $100,000 race.
No.
There's a lot of those that are $100,000 purses.
So, and Magic says, Rodney, you've been great in the chat, and I agree. We love having you. It's been nice. But and we love answering these types of questions.
You bet.
You for the newer fans. That's why the site is here. So to kind of Papa Dude's point, as we pivot to that.
Yeah.
So what you'll see, Rodney, and I'm sure you've noticed if you watch the Kentucky Derby, the undercard, not all, but a lot of really big horses were in that. And then what will happen is they now wait for the Belmont. Because the Belmont Day is massive. The Belmont Day is almost the best day in racing anymore, other than maybe the Breeders' Cup, because they run so many great races. So once again, what gets left? The undercard of the Preakness, because it's 2 weeks after the Derby. Then it's only 3 weeks to that card at Belmont. They're not going to run them in all three of those.
No.
So again, the whole thing gets hurt by the spacing of in between the races. And like you said with the Black-Eyed Susan, it's horrible.
It's awful.
But listen, and last thing, Rodney, Secret Oath is in this race, right? And thank God she is, because to me, if this race without Secret Oath, it would just be embarrassing.
There's no story.
Nothing. But the only trainer in the world that would run Secret Oath back in the Preakness is Lucas. He's 87 years old. He invented the old school, right?
Yeah.
So if he hadn't have won the Kentucky Oaks, she wouldn't be here either. So again, the trainers more and more aren't going to do it.
No.
And you have the Derby winner that's not here, and you got the third place finisher that's not here. Chad Brown skipped the Derby with early voting. He could have gotten that horse in the race. He skipped the Derby and went to the Preakness.
Right.
Because it's like, hey, he might win the Preakness, but he's not going to win the Preakness off 2 weeks rest after the Derby.
Yeah. So that's go ahead.
It's just a trend that is going to go the opposite way. It's going to only get worse.
And I think another reason too is, Rodney, the value of the horse, money-wise, has grown so much. That's another reason they're not going to risk their horse getting hurt for breeding purposes. It's amazing how much these male horses make as stallions. What was it with Curlin just to breed with Curlin? Wasn't it like 40,000, something like that?
I can't remember the number he's at now, but I mean, it got up. It may have got, I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but yeah, I mean, he's been in the 50,000 range the whole time. Yeah.
And that's a male. So think how much money he can make for you.
Correct.
As a stallion. Well, if he gets hurt and maybe they have to put him down because they're afraid he's running in a race too soon after one, they're not going to do it. And that's what they're thinking. And even, Rich Strike, because he won the Kentucky Derby, is going to be a good stallion now. I mean, that's all you need to somebody will want to breed with your horse. So anyway, it is Curtis says Curlin was 175,000 recently.
Yeah, I knew he had been up to the six figures, but I didn't know how far. Yeah.
So
he's still at 175. Yeah.
That's where the money is in horse racing.
Yeah.
And they're not going to risk, because their horses are trained different than what they used to be. They're softer on them than what they used to be. And it's just the facts.
Yeah.
So let me throw this out here. Boy, this will really get some shit going. You've been to Pimlico and you think it's a dump, right?
I've never actually been.
I thought you went to the Preakness. Well, who have I talked to that has, and they hated it, thought it was a bad place? I don't know.
I couldn't tell you.
I just am looking at the purses. I was shocked. Are you at the purses for a Triple Crown undercard?
Yeah.
They're not very good. I think 250 was the highest one.
Yeah, and that's what Chris points out. And the purses aren't great, but and that is part of the problem as well.
Oh, Rodney, it's much more valuable to have a great stallion than a great mare, because a mare can only produce one colt a year, while the stallion can produce as many as he can hold out.
So exactly. So Rodney, just for an example, let's take Magic says Curlin is at 175,000. So that's each mare he impregnates is 175,000. I don't know what they capped it. I don't know what the cap is now. Maybe Magic can chime in, but he could cover 300 or 400 mares. So just take 300 or 400 times 175,000. That's what a horse of that magnitude can produce in a year.
And they always said about Curlin, he loved the ladies.
Yeah, that's right.
And it just makes sense that and you take a mare like Zenyatta, who everybody thought would have.
Oh, it's 140.
Okay. Who everybody thought would produce colts.
Yeah.
Or colts, fillies, whatever.
Yeah. Champions.
And she can't hardly, I don't know. Some of them have not even lived, have they? And she had all kinds of problems with her. Falls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm doing the math. That is, let's see, 320. Yeah. So if you breed 140 and at 175,000 a pop, that's $24 million.
Yeah. That's in a year. And Curlin's going strong. And what is he now? About 20 years old?
Yeah. Let's see. He was 3 in 2007. So
yeah. So he's 18.
Yeah.
And he ran when he was a 4-year-old, so he started when he was 5.
Right. Just for reference, if you $10,000, which is a stud fee for a sire that's wasn't really even that great on the racetrack. That's still $1.4 million they're putting
Yeah.
out there. So yeah,
That's where the money is. Yeah.
exactly. That's why you're seeing these campaigns that they're having, because to become a sire, the bar really isn't that high. You just have to win a couple of graded stakes races and you will become a sire.
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
And you take, you look at the purse, what is it? 2 million for the Preakness, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The owner gets 60% of 2 million.
It's
So
1.5. 1.5.
Oh, that's the purse?
The purse is 1.5 million. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he gets 60% of 1.5. I'm doing that math in my head right now. That's $900,000. Okay. Yes, that's a ton of money. But the trainer gets 90, roughly 10%, and the jockey, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the going rate.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 180,000. So now you're down to 720. It costs money to ship that horse all over the place. The point I'm trying to make is, yeah, you make some money if you win enough of these.
Yeah.
But the real money is when they become a stallion.
Well, even if you go out there and you do all that and you win and you come home with 700,000, which is obviously great.
Sure.
You can make that with no risk whatsoever in half of a breeding season if you have a good stallion. So
absolutely.
And again, that contributes to how careful they are with these horses. So like I said, this isn't going to change. It's only going to get worse. So they're not, they're going to enter less and less into this race. So
yeah, and if you would do, you're really interested in, just go back 20 years, research, and see how many times these 3-year-olds run compared to now.
Yeah,
they just don't run very often,
mm-hmm.
and because they don't want to get them hurt. So
and this is another contributing factor. Most 90%, it should be 100% of these great horses are insured.
Yes.
It costs a lot of money for that insurance. And what that means is, because if this horse breaks down, something happened to him, they can't breed, but they've got an insurance policy
right
that could kind of cover some of those losses.
Yeah.
Certainly not going to cover it to the, to the point of what they could have made, but still it's definitely something, and it costs a lot to keep them going. Yeah,
it does. And that's a problem with horse racing. A lot, there's just problems in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because we fall in love with these 3-year-olds that do well, but we don't hardly ever see them again after their 3-year-old campaign.
Yeah.
And that hurts. But you can't blame the owners for retiring them and getting them into that breeding shed just as quick as they can.
No, you can't. You can't. You definitely can't. And the deal is, these 3 races are marquee events to market to the outside public.
No question about it.
And when you have a horse like Rich Strike that captivated everybody's attention,
right,
and now he's not running, it really kills that outside audience. People that are watching this show they probably want Rich Strike to be there, but it's like we're all going to watch it, bet it anyway.
Yeah.
But to capture new fans, you need Rich Strike in this race, and he's not, and that hurts. And
exactly.
A great example of this for people that think I'm full of shit. My buddy, or our buddy from Sirius XM, Patrick, who we got to be on his Kentucky Derby show, he texted me today. He texted me yesterday. He said, "Hey, just want to let you know we were all set to do a Preakness show, and the second Rich Strike backed out, they canceled it."
Absolutely.
Because the radio network that he works for was like, that there's no need to do it. Nobody's gonna care.
Yeah.
And they're marketing not to horse people. They're marketing that outside public. And so
absolutely,
there it is. And so people that think, oh, you're making too much of it. I'm not. Like, that's the kind of stuff that happens with horse racing.
Yeah.
People just assume Derby, Preakness, Belmont, oh, everybody's into it.
No.
If there's not a Triple Crown on the line at Belmont, the general public goes away. And if the Derby winner's on at the Preakness, the general public goes away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and the other factor is, too, the big networks that are carrying this. they've already got the advertising sold for this one, but down the road, they're going to have trouble selling the advertising because this is not a major event without Rich Strike being in it, unless what you just said, you are a horse racing person.
Yep.
I mean, if you've got something else to do on Saturday afternoon, you're going to do it.
Yeah, and you're not watching this race.
No, absolutely not. And
again, like Joe Paw says, horse people, sure, like something like that makes sense. He said he's glad he isn't running. Charismatic taught me you can't overlook a Derby fluke, and so
it's true.
A lot of people that are betting, whether they want to admit it or not, probably would have put him on a ticket, even though they kind of think he's kind of flukish. And then he's either going to, waste your money because he runs like 6 and it's like, oh, why did I do that? Or he's going to win and you left him off and you're like, how did I leave the Derby winner off? So from a betting standpoint, some of us are kind of glad he's not there because he's just kind of a problem that you don't want to deal with.
Exactly.
But again, that's not who we're talking about really with this.
No.
It's like the general public, they don't care about this race right now. And Secret Oath might appeal to a few of them for sure, but
not very many.
An 80-1 Kentucky Derby winner was going to appeal to the masses. So
you ask most people, you know this, I know this, but I didn't know this 20 years ago. Only 3-year-olds running the Kentucky Derby. You go to Walmart, you take a survey, there might be 1 out of 100 people that know that.
Yep.
They don't really know that fillies don't run with males.
Yep.
They don't really know that. So that story about the filly going against the males is not going to carry much weight. But like you said, an 80-1 Kentucky Derby winner was the story. That was the story of the Kentucky Derby. And if that horse was running in the Preakness, don't think there wouldn't be some interest, because there would be.
Yeah.
And that's the facts. And I don't care who wants to argue with me. You are wrong.
No,
that's the facts.
No, it's 100%. Like I said, I have a fact. A major radio network canceled a show when he pulled out.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any other. That right there is the biggest argument. NBC Sports Radio said we're not doing a show when he pulled out.
Exactly.
So that's just the facts of the matter. If he was an attraction.
Well, I've got a little, I have to go to a wedding Saturday. And what time is the race? What time's it go? Around 5:30, something.
Let's see what it's going to go off at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Our time.
Okay. The wedding starts at 5:30.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest, I won't check my phone till 7 probably.
Yeah.
Because if Rich Strike was running, I guarantee you, as soon as that wedding's over, I'm going to check my phone to see who wins. But I probably will, but I'm not as excited as I would be.
Yeah.
And I don't have to go to this wedding. It's my neighbors across the street, and I feel like I should go. And Sandy's doing the cake and everything, so I got to go help her. But if there was a big more interest, I could get out of this pretty easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty much into horse racing. Not as much as you, but I pretty much am. But I'm not going to kill myself because I don't get to watch the race. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah. Well, when the Derby winner's not at the Preakness, it hurts it. And that's just the facts of it.
Yeah. But changing tradition is very, very difficult.
I mean,
I know, but it is.
I know, but it shouldn't.
No, it's getting to the point where if this is the major story of the Preakness, then something needs to be changed, right? We should be talking about the horses, not the fact the horses aren't here.
You're right, exactly. This is American classic.
I think we also ought to point out that it's not only affecting the Preakness, it's affecting the Black-Eyed Susan for fillies on Friday.
Yeah.
And the undercard all day long on Saturday. There's just, you go down through there.
Yeah.
There's hardly any big names.
No.
On that undercard.
Well, let's talk about the undercard.
Okay.
What horse on the undercard do you feel the most confident about on Saturday?
Probably I feel the most confident about technical analysis in race 5.
Okay, so we'll move up to the 5th race here. There it is. 5th race. Like I said, technical analysis is the 4-horse. This is the Gallarette Stakes, a grade 3 going 1 and 1/16 miles on the turf. Technical, she's mine as well. I feel most confident about her. What are your kind of thoughts on
well, I just think her past is better than anybody else's. She's won a grade 3 and a grade 2.
Yeah.
She was second in a grade 1. I think she's far and away better than anything else. The trainer jockey combination is there. She's not going to be 7. I can't believe she's 7-5 anyway. I like Crystal Cliffs is a decent horse too.
Yeah.
And he could make a difference. I just like the horse. That's who I like the best out of all of them. I'm glad you chose that too. Yeah. That's the one that stuck out when I went through all of these.
Seems to be ready to run a pretty nice race. Last time out, kind of got her feet back under her. The second start of the year, not a lot of pace in this race, and I think that's a big thing. Yeah. She can kind of just take a gate to wire. I was the same way. I like technical analysis a lot. Now, let's cover this because Joe Pa asked, not Ethereal Road in the 11th. So let's talk about the 11th race. Who did you like on top in that?
I picked him.
Okay, so you picked Ethereal Road on top. By the way, this is the Sir Barton Stakes, $100,000 going a mile 16th on the dirt. You picked Ethereal Road. Talk about him a little bit.
Well, I just feel like he's been in much better races than any of the other horses in there, and he's not run that bad. You know, he's been there. He's been close. He hasn't run awful. I don't think he's very good. This is a freaking $100,000 stakes race, though. How good do you have to be? Yeah. So I like his back class. I do like the 5. I think the 5 is a major threat also. But the fact that he's not great by any stretch of the imagination, I can't really get real confidence in to say that he's my favorite on the rest of the card. You know, I just can't.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried that he didn't run him in the Derby, which was because he wasn't doing very well. But, you know, he's had 2 weeks and everything. So I picked him, though, because I think he's got a shot. I really do. Now, did you go with him or did you go with 5 or?
I put him on in 3rd. I went with B-Doc.
I like him too.
On top. I think the race last time out was a real standout performance. And I watched the replay of that carefully a couple of times because I was a little bit like, was that just kind of a fluke? And he certainly kind of just looked like he woke up, took the blinkers off of him, and he just ran a really, really improved race. I think if he runs that race back, he will win. The question mark is, can he do it 2 times in a row?
Right.
And when you look at class, Ethereal Road has the class without any doubt. It's just, does he have the talent level that B-Doc does?
Exactly. Yeah. And I like in the 12th, I like Karatari, I think his name is.
Yeah, the fast sprinter there. Yeah. Karatari, yes.
3 for 3.
Yep.
I like him. That's my second best pick on the undercard.
I like that horse as well. Yeah. I think that horse has got a shot. Dennis chimes in. He likes Quicksand AA, the Arabian, in the 14th race.
That's my pick also.
Quicksand AA. Yeah, he's been around forever. How old is that horse now? He is 9. That's what I thought.
9 years old.
He's been around forever. By the way, Dennis heading to Churchill. So good luck today at Churchill. Twilight Card starts in 2 hours, I think, or 1 hour maybe. Let's see.
Leave it to Dennis. His best one would be an Arabian.
Dennis loves the Arabians and he loves the jumpers at Saratoga too. So.
Oh yeah, all right.
That's just around the corner. We can bet that. So Joe Pa doesn't like the layoff for Karatori. That is the question mark. I don't necessarily disagree with your thought process. If you want to try to beat that horse, I picked him because I don't love much else in here.
No, the 3 a little bit.
7 Cents a little bit. Hollis a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mr. Hustle at 10-1, I like a bit. But I don't know. I just think Cartari will show up and run pretty well. And if he does, he's going to win. So there you go. Best show on YouTube. Let's go. Dudes who bet sports.
Okay, thank you.
They
Don't know
let
who
out the
Sean
insane
Doe is.
asylum at 2:50, and so he got right to his phone to tweet that one out to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I could have been busy.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, they didn't let it. Though maybe it's listening. The last 10 minutes of the hour, they let him listen in the insane asylum. So
Yeah, it could be.
So we had a commenter once back in the day on the Rocket Hour. Dennis made a comment. He's like, "Did they let out the insane asylum and let that guy in here?"
Oh boy.
Joe Paul likes it too, man. We
Thanks.
really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. We try to be as interactive as possible with
You
the
bet.
commenters, and that's why it's a good
If
show.
we don't have the comments, it's not. You and I can't carry it all by ourselves.
I could carry it, but
so
you
much.
couldn't.
Well, I can too, but I'm trying to be nice. It's so much better though when we have people chiming in. So
Yep,
tell
no
us
doubt,
what's on your mind.
So let's change gears. I think we've covered this Preakness card. And by the way, we would do a little more, but you've got Magic Mike coming on in about an hour. They'll cover it, and then you got Blinkers Off coming on in about 3 hours, and of course we'll cover it. So that's kind of our overall thoughts, and then you'll get a lot more.
Yeah,
coming up on those shows as well. Let's move on to
you might want to hang on, people. Hang on when we get to the Blues here. This might be. We're talking about the Blues hockey team. This might be worth you hanging around for a little while.
Well, first of all, I tried to tell you picked Florida.
Oh, this one? No,
not
this
winning.
one didn't surprise me.
Tampa Bay dominates Florida.
No, they didn't.
Tried to tell
they didn't dominate them.
Tried to tell everybody.
No, they did not dominate them.
They
did beat them.
Yeah. Never in doubt.
No. That's why you picked Florida tonight.
Well, I think Florida bounces back in game 2.
Okay.
It up. But Florida is not winning.
Right. We had the games wrong. Okay. We both thought it was going to be 1-1, right? Out of the first 2.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the Lightning would be a little bit weary after the Toronto series.
No.
I know I screwed up. And I probably screwed up tonight too. My thinking is tonight they've got that one win and they may not be as focused tonight.
Okay. Now I got to go now. I'm going to show people what you can do. You can go to racingdudes.com and go to these free NHL picks, and you can see who we picked. And we've all picked Florida. Look at this.
Yeah, that's not good.
There you go.
I mean, what is your thinking? My thinking is tonight Florida has to win. They have to win.
That's why I picked Florida. I think you see a desperate Panther team tonight.
I think so too. And they've been a good bounce back team. And when their backs are against the wall, they've responded pretty well. Wouldn't bet a nickel on it at all. And I just wouldn't, because this Tampa team, it's dumb to bet against them. It's just dumb to bet against them. And especially with the goalie, who was phenomenal in game 1, 33 saves. And here's the deal with Florida. Aaron, I don't know whether you've noticed this or not. They have not scored a power play goal in the playoffs. They're not going to beat Tampa Bay if they don't get that straightened out.
When you get into the playoffs, experience of winning is everything. They don't have it.
Do you know, I didn't realize this, and I may have these dates a little bit wrong. They hadn't won a playoff round since they went to the finals. And I'm thinking they said 1993 or 96.
I think it was in the early 90s.
I want to say 93, but that can't be 29 years ago.
That was the run of John Van Beesbrook.
Yes.
And they had to,
Is that 30 years ago? I just refuse to believe that. I don't think I'm thinking 96, and that's still about the same thing.
I think the Red Wings won it in 96.
John Van Beesbrook's been around. That was a long time ago.
I was very young. I know that.
Okay.
But that could have been 93 or 96.
And they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
And they got eliminated in 4 games by Colorado.
Yeah. The Bees.
And
yep.
I had not realized they had not won a playoff round since. They've been in the playoffs a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there it is, 96.
96.
96. Okay, well, I knew it was one or the other. So you're absolutely, when you start looking at experience, that is a huge key in this series. And, everybody's thinking it might go 7. I'm not sure it's going to. And it sure ain't going to if Tampa wins tonight.
Listen, I think Toronto was a better team than Tampa.
I do too.
But I don't think Toronto, when the chips were down, they were not going to beat that team. Because they're Toronto and the other team's Tampa. And the other team has Valesky. Valesky is the difference. He's fantastic.
Then why did I pick Florida tonight?
Well, because it's game 2. It's at home. They have to win. Florida has a lot of talent. I mean, I have Florida picked. We all 3 picked Florida. So
yeah, and we all probably all had a little struggle with it. I did.
Yeah.
And I struggled. I wanted to pick Tampa Bay really bad in the first game. I just thought that Toronto series might have taken a little out of them and Florida might get them. Yeah. And it didn't happen. So
all right.
It's going to be a great game tonight.
Let's move on to the circus that will take place in Colorado tonight.
Oh, shit.
The Blues lose in overtime 3-2. They should have lost 9-1 in regulation, but it didn't happen. They got to overtime. It kind of had the feel of, wow, the Blues are going to win this game.
That's right.
They're going to steal this game.
Yeah.
Get into overtime, get outshot 13-0.
And this is in 8 minutes, folks.
8 minutes. They got outshot 13-0 in overtime against the Avalanche. Of course, you know how it finishes. If I said they got outshot 13-0, they couldn't have won because they didn't even get a shot.
No.
If Colorado had an open net, the Blues still wouldn't have won in overtime.
No, because they couldn't get the puck in the zone.
That's right.
Well,
all right, game 2.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of insane asylums, it looks like Curtis is picking the Blues tonight. What are your thoughts on game 2 in Colorado tonight?
Well, okay, I sat there and I watched what you watched. And I don't want to discredit Bennington in any way. I shouldn't even throw this out there because he was fantastic. But Colorado hit the post 6 times.
Right.
That means 6 pucks got past him. Not his fault. I'm not faulting him at all. 6 posts. I don't think I've ever seen a game where the post was hit 6 times. And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about the frame that holds the netting of the net. Hit it 6 times, which means you're very close to scoring. So even if 2 of those go in, which, that's not very many, you're still, the Blues are going to get blown out because they're going to get behind. They're going to have to play different, and who knows what's going to happen. So I won't take anything away from Bennington, but that, like you said, could have been 9-1, and he played very, very well.
Yes.
Now, the thing that pisses me off the most is we sit here and we talk about how you got to steal a game on the road somewhere when you're not quite as good as the other team. And I think most of us will acknowledge the Blues aren't as good as Colorado.
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody is, except maybe Tampa. So here was the golden opportunity. Now, I don't know about you, but I thought the Blues played okay in the third period. I thought they played better. In the
last 10 minutes of the third period,
yes,
they played better.
They played pretty well. They weren't awful in the first period, but that was the worst hockey team I have ever seen in the second period. They were just pathetic.
Yep.
And it was 2-1, wasn't it? Because of him and the hitting the post.
Right.
So they tie the game with like 4 minutes left. They've got all the momentum. Okay. So they get a penalty with like a minute 30 to go, something like that in regulation, which was questionable. The penalty was questionable. And I thought to myself, okay, if they can kill this penalty off, because it stretched on about 31 seconds into the overtime, a penalty, or 41, something like that.
Yep.
So I was thinking, okay, if they can kill this off, they're going to win this game.
Yep.
You thinking that?
Yep.
It was just scripted, just perfect. They should have had all the momentum coming out in overtime.
If you watch hockey, it felt like they were going to win
Yeah.
when they killed that off.
Because first of all, the Blues aren't bad.
No.
It's not like the Dallas series with Calgary, where Calgary was a much better team than Dallas, and that goalie was just standing on his head, and it's the only reason that series was close, which was the same thing that happened, but the Blues are better than Dallas.
Yeah, they're better than that. Yeah.
Yeah. And to come out and get outshot 13-0 in overtime is inexcusable.
Yeah.
There is no excuse for that.
Yep.
Tarasenko did not show up.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely worthless. Didn't do, and I love Tarasenko.
Yeah.
I don't know where he was. He was Tarasenko. There's no doubt about that.
Well, listen, there were about 4 guys that I thought played. Well, 5.
O'Reilly played good.
O'Reilly was good. Shin was good.
Yeah.
Perron, that line was good.
That was it.
Justin Falk, I thought, played good.
Well, yeah, he always does.
And then Bennington, and that's it. The rest of them, you might as well have you and I and Curtis out there.
Have you ever seen Parayko play worse?
Well, he's awful. I mean,
he was scared.
Yeah, that's the thing. They played timid the whole game.
And how can a team that beat Minnesota like they did and have so much experience and have so many guys that can put the puck in the net play like that?
Yeah. Well, it isn't a new problem. They cannot match up with Colorado.
No, and you sure can't when you don't think you can. And because here's the thing. I give them no chance tonight. Do you?
No, none.
In fact, the pick I made, you can't bet the money line on Colorado. There's no, obviously Vegas gives them no chance because somebody in Vegas watched the damn game. I don't know what.
I mean,
and so Bennington can't play that good again. He can't.
No.
He saved 51 shots.
Well,
and that doesn't count the ones that hit the post.
And in the overtime, he was making miraculous saves.
Oh my God. I don't know that he could have got out of bed yesterday.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
He had to be beat up from the pucks hitting him, and he was flopping all over the ice.
Well, when you think about it, they hit 6 posts, and he robbed 6 more shots that should have been goals.
Now, somebody, I don't know if this is true, but somebody I heard say, when you hit the post, that's not a shot on goal.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So that's 60 shots.
Yeah.
It's the worst performance I can remember for the Blues playing when they've had a good team.
Yeah.
Ever.
I think they'll bounce back and play a better game tonight.
I do too, but Bennington's not going to play as well. He can't.
But when you look at all the factors, okay, the Blues bounce back and play a better game. Well, they still could lose by 3 goals. It's a better game from that is not going to be good enough. Like, it's going to have to be a total 180 for the Blues.
Well, yes. And then he's still going to have to play.
And this is a
very,
game,
very well.
Oh, yeah. He'll have to play well the whole series. Any game he doesn't play well, it's an automatic loss.
Yeah. He has to be tired. He has to.
And the Blues got the lead in this game. I mean, they had all their chances to steal one.
They did.
They didn't. So.
And it's so aggravating.
Yeah.
Because this, to me, they lost the series like Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
That was their chance. Because we talked about on Monday. They have to win a game in Colorado. It's just the way it is. They have to. That was the game that they had to win. I know it's hockey and anything can happen, but.
Yeah. They're in big trouble.
Yes. And I don't know. They do have a way of bouncing back sometimes. When
I think they will play a good game tonight. I don't think they're capable of beating them.
That's what worries me?
What's that?
They got all those shots and they didn't have, 2 power plays the whole game?
Yeah, I think they had 3. Yeah.
And the Blues only had 1 scored.
Yeah, and the Blues killed off all 3 of Colorado's.
Yeah.
Probably what you're going to see tonight is a St. Louis team try to goon the game up.
I think so too, and I think that's going to get them in the penalty box.
Oh, it'll lead to like 10 penalties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. they were in the penalty box all night when they weren't in the penalty box. That's what the game looked like.
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, but it was second period, I think. A Colorado guy got the puck just before center ice and skated through 4 Blues and got right to the net.
Yeah.
He just went around 4 of them. They were just standing still, and I don't remember who it was. Skater.
Oh, it's McKinnon.
Yeah. Oh, when he gets the puck, oh God, they just back off.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. That's why they didn't take any penalties. They weren't close enough to any of their players to get penalties.
No.
And
if you know Berube like we do, I could see smoke coming out of his ears in the press conference.
Yes.
He's very guarded about what he says.
Yes.
He's pretty calm, but he's not. But he acts it, and when he says, we didn't have the puck, we didn't work hard enough. When we got the puck, well, you know what the answers, what his thoughts are.
Yeah.
The best part of the game was Shin trying to break his stick over there in the penalty box.
Well, that was a terrible call, and he was upset.
That was so funny. They couldn't get that stick broke.
No, he was mad. He played well.
But he always does. He's not afraid of anybody.
No, he's not. And neither's O'Reilly and Perron. And that, like I said, that line was fine. The rest of them.
The other answer is, where is Johnson? He has disappeared the entire playoffs. He's just not played. I mean, he hadn't done a thing.
No.
And he was fantastic in the regular season. So
yeah, I don't know.
I don't either. The thing to watch tonight is we'll see if they're trying to goon it up by how many penalties they get right off the bat.
Yeah.
So the only thing is when they try to goon it up, they don't have any goons.
Yep.
Shin's the only one.
Yeah, they don't. They're not as heavy of a team as they were in 19. They're more skilled.
They don't have a guy that can sit out there and get a fight going. So.
No, they really don't.
But anyway, that's the way it is.
Well,
who you got in the Miami game tonight?
God, I got to be honest. This NBA stuff is boring me to death. I don't care. I picked Miami, but I'm not going to watch a second of it. I'm not going to lie to people. It is so boring to me.
After the first round, it hasn't been as good. The first round was
awful.
Great.
It's been awful.
There have been some bad one-sided games.
And it's been like a week. It's been a week straight of just.
Yeah. Now, the Boston game was kind of interesting the other night. It wasn't that bad. But the Golden State game with Dallas last night was super bad.
Honestly, I would go find I don't know. I haven't even looked this up. I would go find what price Golden State is to win the whole thing right now, and I would bet them. They just look so much better than these other teams.
They are when they're hitting that 3 ball.
And it's like if they lose, it's just stupid. So, I love Golden State at this point. I mean,
yeah, I do too.
I don't know. I guess they're tough, but
Miami beat them Tuesday night, but Marcus Smart didn't play.
Yeah.
And Horford didn't play.
Yeah.
And they got outplayed 3 of the 4 quarters. Now, statistics are for losers.
Yeah.
One quarter they won. They outscored Boston 39-14. So I don't know what happened in that quarter for the Celtics.
Yeah.
They get Smart back tonight, probably. He's going to help. But Horford's in health and safety protocol, whatever the hell that means.
By the way, everybody's getting COVID again.
Yes. Jimmy Kimmel's got it again.
Samich has it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean,
Colbert's had it. Stephen Colbert. Kimmel's
the wrestling show I listened to, 3 of their 4 guys have had it.
Are you kidding me?
No. Everybody has COVID again.
Darn. I wonder what's going on.
Yeah. I wonder how. When you ignore a pandemic and just move on, it tends to happen. So, I'll probably get it for the 3rd time is what I'm thinking.
Well, you're pretty prone to it.
Well, let's see. I go to Vegas next week. So what are the chances that I'm going to be COVID-free? Yeah.
I don't think I've known anyone that's got it 3 times. So you will be the first.
That's what I'm going for.
I know 2 people, you and someone I used to teach with over at Sir Cox. I was over there the other day getting ready for driver's ed. She's had it twice. And I believe that's the only 2 I know. that's had it twice.
It's weird because I definitely thought we would get it at the Kentucky Derby. And as
Yes.
far as I know, nobody got it from there. And before you say Samich, he did not get it from there.
Okay.
He got it when he got home. So
Okay. Yeah.
because none of us have it, so
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know either. And you're not out too much except when you went to the Derby. I mean,
Other
you're
than
home
racing
a
trips,
lot.
I'm hardly ever out.
Yeah, I mean, you go out to eat, but you don't really get close to people that much.
No.
when you
Now,
go.
again, going to Vegas. So, like I said, COVID number 3 is on the way. I'm ready. I'm pumped for it.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, all right. Well, we got Magic Mike coming up soon, so we better get off here, I guess.
Okay.
Magic, if you're still here, tell the people what you're covering. You told me and I didn't listen. We've got that coming up, and we've got blinkers off coming up. I mean, sometime the guide will be out, and then so we got a lot going on. Friday we have a Preakness show. Okay, the Pimlico late pick 4 for Magic.
Oh, there we go.
And then blinkers off will do something. And
I want to know if Curtis needs any baby formula.
Oh yes, Curtis. He needs some for himself, maybe. I don't know.
Well, his little one might be past that stage.
I don't know.
No, I guess not.
What is he? About 4 or 5 now, Magic? I can't remember.
He's not 4 or 5.
Well, he's 6, I think. You're right. Anyway.
He's fully on human food. Okay, you're lucky.
He's fully on human food because he's like 4 or 5 years old.
12 and a half. 12 and a half months.
12 and a half months, not years. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Anyway, late pick 4.
Most people would say
Mike,
he's a year old.
Correct. Yes.
They wouldn't say 12 and a half months.
He was born on Kentucky Derby Day last year.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So he's around. He's still going strong. I saw a picture of him. He's doing good. So late pick 4. Colson will have his picks as well for Saturday. And then, blinkers off. We'll do something. And then Friday we'll have a show. And then Saturday we'll be live for the Preakness. And probably a lot of the undercard. So a lot going on. Any final thoughts before I sign us off?
No, I don't think I've had enough for today.
Me too.
Yeah.
Too. You'll see me again, though. So if you want more
Wish
of me.
I could get out of this wedding, but
well,
not going to happen.
That's,
Then I got to go to another one next week. So
wedding season is upon us.
Sandy and I have not been to a wedding the whole time we've been together. Now we got 2 back to back, and we could have had 3. I didn't go to one last weekend that I could have. So 3 straight.
I thought you were going to say they called it off.
No, they didn't.
All right, folks. We're going to
right.
get out of here. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hey, we'll be back. I think we're going to do a Sunday show next week because I'll be traveling on Monday. So Sunday show.
Oh, you're traveling this Monday?
Yes, so I'll be gone. So
Okay.
It's either no show or a Sunday show. Which one do you want to do?
Well, if we do one, let's do it in the evening.
Yeah, we'll do it Sunday evening. I tell you what, if the Preakness is not won by an 80-1 shot, we will do it. If it is won by an 80-1 shot, we will not do it. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right,
And
everybody.
we'll have more things we can talk about on hockey and basketball by that time too.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We're going to get out of here. We got a lot of shit coming up. Just stay tuned. Keep watching YouTube. It'll alert you. And we'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels. Never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,